All right. Oh man. All right, here we go.
The hell?
What?
It's just
What?
ridiculous. Like, I just kind of stood there. Like, he drew down on you.
He what?
Like, he drew down on you like he was gonna win. Like, he just really slowly brought his gun to aim at you.
Oh, you son of a...
Someday you will beat this. I don't know when.
What the hell? I didn't think I killed him.
I don't even remember how many times you've gone through this level at this point.
I went through it quite a few. I can get... I can do pretty good, except for... There's one part where you have to kind of shoot a couple guys in the head.
You also have to have patience with the scientists when they don't get the hell out of your way.
I don't know why I'm
I,
shooting him with this, but...
I can only see that guy's feet. Even with the increased brightness, I could only see his feet.
I know. And that's the...
I can see that. I can see those guys. Well, not the one you were shooting at, but the one that was on the right-hand side. I saw him okay.
Yeah, it's still pretty freaking dark in this area, but that's okay.
We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it.
I mean, I'll deal with it. I don't understand what...
I still maintain that playing on the legit hardware feels better. It's more responsive. You don't seem to notice as bad. But even on official emulations, like when they have like the Nintendo Online, some of those NES games,
They don't function like they...
they well, so like you can adjust to it enough, but when you get into the later levels that were intentionally designed to be more difficult, you know, the early levels are to teach you how to move around, how to control, how to do all that, and then when you have to be absolutely perfect with it in the later levels, you know, normal progression, they almost become unplayable because the controls aren't responsive enough.
I can see that.
And it's especially bad on games, you know, games you've played over and over and over again. Like this game, the muscle memory of this game for you, it's mostly muscle memory of which buttons to press and when. Like you have to remember the locations of things, but being able to memorize exactly how everything moves and like your brain and your muscles get used to the frame timing and all of that of how different movements work. So you start to notice the lag and input lag on games that you've played a lot. And so it's kind of why I hear a lot of younger people tell me that they don't notice input lag on emulation, and I'm telling them it's there. Just because you don't notice it doesn't mean it's not there. It's always there. But it gets really bad for those of us who played these games for countless hours, and it you know, it basically it's second nature as I'm going to press the button now. But because of input lag, the input's not registered at the right time, you know?
Right, it's... yeah. We're
It's
used to
just,
playing it one way, and...
yeah, it's... And, I mean, the argument could be made that I could try to get used to it on the new input, but it seems like too much work for me just to have... I like emulation so that it's, you know, easily available and readily available, but it doesn't feel like the true experience. And when I'm playing older games anyway, I'm not looking for it to have the sharpest graphics because I already know it's not going to. I mean, you can only polish a turd so much.
Right.
So, I'll sacrifice slightly smoothed, enhanced graphics for the game to control and feel better.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I thought I killed that guy. I think I did kill that guy, did I? Oh, I killed that guy and the other guy came down. I got it.
And you said you had played this game on an emulator, though. Did you get this far into the game?
Yeah.
And it still controlled fine?
Yeah.
Hmm.
As far as I could tell. But I also was using a a USB N64 controller. So, I don't know if that made any difference, though, but...
I don't know. Like I said, I still notice the input lag. Like, even if you're playing,
What
the original Mario Brothers on an emulator, in those later levels, it really does start to feel different. You really start to notice it. That game, though, of course, because the controls are so simple, it's really easy to, adjust. But in games where you have more precise movement, you have to have, like, pinpoint accuracy. Like, I would never play Lost Levels, the, Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2. I would never play that on an emulator because that has, like, pixel perfect jumps in some instances. I would never play any game that requires pixel perfect anything on an emulator. That's just ridiculous. But and then the later you get into gaming itself, the less you notice things. So like, I haven't played really any PS2 emulation at all. But I would imagine it's there probably isn't much input lag on it. And once you get to PS3 era and Xbox 360 era, you were basically playing on a computer to begin with, so the emulations it's all the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, and the controls, these 3D controls, they...
But it's mostly with the old games that were in the lower resolutions. So really after the 16-bit era, I don't really notice it. I mean, I notice it sometimes on like PS1 emulation occasionally, but it's not terrible. Like, I noticed some input lag sometimes when emulating, like, Resident Evil or Silent Hill.
Yeah, with this I don't notice. It's just dark. That's the only problem. I mean, you can kind of overcome it, but... Of course, I think this level was pretty dark originally anyway.
Well, I mean, but I think it has to do with the way that the Super 64 upscales, because it's not outputting the colors in their true registers, I think is what's going on. So it's not outputting the visuals 100% correctly.
Oh, I think I killed 2 of them. I'm pretty sure yeah, I did.
Yeah, we're gonna beat this one. That looked like you shot James Bond in the back of the head.
I did. How'd you know I was there?
He heard you. I will say this about this level. That might be some of the best water graphics I've ever seen in a video game.
So like, how did I shoot that guy and this other one doesn't know?
Look at that. Look at those water graphics. Some of the best in the ever made.
Well, you designed them, so you know. I have one bullet left.
I just think back on a time where, you know, we looked at these graphics and we went, wow.
I know, and now we're like,
Well, that's the thing is N64 does not look good. No, there's no N64 game, period, that really truly holds up. They're just varying degrees of bad. I mean, for the time they were fine, but I mean now, you know, how they hold up, they're just varying degrees of awful. Even when you get to Zelda, I mean, they're not terrible in the Zelda games, but everything's flat. Like, it's a 3D world, but there's no texture anywhere. All the texturing is just artificial coloring, you know? Like, the texturing on these walls, it's a complete flat surface that's just painted different colors to make it look textured. But if you get really close to it, it's clearly just a flat, stretched piece of color. And, you know, and when you look at the Zelda games, and you get, like, look at people's faces and stuff, they're just, like, flat faces.
yeah, there's not much, you know.
I mean, like, they would make
detail.
They made his nose pointed to show that it was a nose, but it's still like a flat image if you zoom the camera right in on his face. And even with Mario and Mario 64, like, his head's three-dimensional, but when you just look at him straight on, it doesn't look 3D. Are you supposed to be destroying all these boxes?
If you notice, they're dropping out ammo. So I'll show you here in a second why I need it.
Well, it just seems to me that... Are you picking up more ammo than you used?
Yeah, look. See, now I have 346.
Oh, okay.